So,
hello and welcome, Star Wars fans, to this very, very special episode of Duel of the Ranks, a show where we debate takes so hot that they'd melt a planet with twin suns. My name's Brody, and tonight I am joined by my co-hosts Amanda, and for maybe one of the last times, if not the last time ever, Christian. By the end of this episode, we'll have a definitive answer on where these two pieces of Star Wars content, being the Bad Batch Season 2, Episodes 15 and 16, we're going to find out where they rank amongst the rest of all other Star Wars video content made. With that said, before we dive into this episode, Amanda, you were back. You had
Welcome
some
back.
extremely high numbers from the last episodes of Bad Batch that Christian and I didn't really fathom, and really
I thought it was interesting how you guys were like, oh, it's so great that Amanda isn't here so I can just like have all of these hot takes. And then I'm
Tank.
like, what do you mean? Like, isn't that why I'm supposed to be here? Is like to be able to like comment on the hot take.
it was quite literally like, Mom's gone. We can do what we
I
want.
know. I was like, but you can do that still also when I'm here. So the controversy was that like I ranked the episode Pabu like really high, and that's because I freaking loved that episode, and I was so sad that I didn't get to be here to like fervishly defend it.
Yeah.
And it's because I felt like that episode really starts to launch the Bad Batch into its like next phase. Like I really got to start to see like, oh my gosh, this would be a really cute setting and like new way to see like clones adapting to post-war retirement life and adventures on this island, and still meaning that they can go off and do things, but this community and this island build is just so interesting. I loved it. And I also loved that the like antagonist of the episode was a natural disaster. When the tsunami was like when the water was pulling out, I was like, oh my god, what type of like monster or sea creature or thing that the Empire has planned is going to be responsible for this? But it's really just that's just part of living on this planet and this island. And I thought that's really cool to see like an altercation and like this piece that really no one has control over, and how everyone has to like come together anyway.
Yeah. That was a cool piece of world building that we talked
And
about.
it like I am not someone that ships Fee and Tech, which I know that you're probably surprised that I wouldn't ship them.
It's not natural.
They
That's
just
because
don't,
their relationship's awkward.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Like they just
There's
don't
nothing
feel
there.
truly
Yeah.
complementary to each other. However, I did like in this episode when like I think Fee like helps like Tech grabs like Fee and then like grapples up at something, and I was like, okay,
Yeah.
Tech, that was kind of cute.
Yeah. Oh, that was that was like a callback to A New Hope. He like says the
Yeah.
exact same thing, like, hang on, when he's holding Leia.
That's a good point,
Oh,
too.
Is
We
that,
did- we
is that
didn't
some
talk about
foreshadowing? Is she Tech's sister? Are we setting something up here? Christian
I
with
don't
the
think so.
No,
predictions.
I just remembered that. But
it just
really, what was your highest ranked category? I think we were really surprised. What was it?
Let me
The
pull it back.
characters?
I gave the story a 5.
Oh, the story.
Out of 5
Yeah.
because I just loved this like newfound home. Like Star Wars has always been about like found family, and that was really ringing true. And being able to see Wrecker eat as much as he wanted to and watch like Hunter look at Omega and feel like proud that she's like thriving as a child. I was
Yeah.
just like really emotionally involved in the story and where it was going.
You gave it a 5 out of 5 stars.
I
Yeah.
like that.
That's wild.
It's
That's
like that.
wild.
It's like that comfort. It felt nice.
Yeah.
And that's that was the appealing part of watching it.
But the next episode, which was Tipping Point, I didn't rank as high.
No, not at
Like
all.
we were all kind of on the same path.
Yeah.
I liked what was going on with the story, but it just felt like it was so much back and forth when I
Yeah.
felt like the season as a whole had done a really good job at being like, okay, we're telling this story, and then now we have a Crosshair story, so we're going to focus in here. And that episode particular felt like it was like here, 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 here. You know?
Yeah, I'm with it. Well, is there anything else we need to address with those last 2 episodes? Or
You said something about Star Trek.
yes, the better of the 2.
We were hoping
Yeah,
you didn't.
and I thought it was
Yeah.
interesting that you thought that I would have a hot take with it. And to be fair, when I was listening to your take, my thought was it was milk toast, because I think it's first of all, with the perspective that I have not seen Star Trek. I've not seen the movies. I've tried to watch the first season of
The OG one?
I think
Or
so.
Next Generation?
I think Next Generation.
Okay.
And I'm someone who likes to have a show on in the background when I'm doing things and working.
Right.
Not the type of show for that. Like, I realized immediately,
Yeah,
I was
it
like, oh,
warrants
there's
thought.
like dialogue, there's
Yeah,
thought,
yeah.
there's
Especially if you're, like,
politics, there's
first time through,
levels.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is not just a background show.
So I haven't fully been able to understand the body of work that is Star Trek. However, as a Star Wars fan, I think it seems obvious that Star Trek is like an intellectual level above Star Wars, but also
Mhm.
because Star Trek isn't really aimed at kids.
Correct. Yeah.
So I felt like it was milk toast, because it's like, Star Trek is like better than Star Wars, but we're, it's still a little bit like apples and Jenga.
Oranges.
Apples and Jenga.
Yeah.
Name of this episode.
There you go. Well, there you have it. Now you can play your soundbite, milk toast.
Oh, wow. Did you say it was milk toast?
I didn't really care. I didn't have an opinion, but I think I said it was probably a hot take.
So, all right. Well,
Disagree?
Yeah.
Milk
Well,
toast?
let's just play a soundbite and see what
Yeah.
comes up.
You fool! Your take is milk toast.
I feel like that take would have had been really, really hot in 2002. Post Next Generation, people were really at war with.
Yeah, KG's in the comments saying like Andor can give Trek a run for its money, though, and that I have heard that conversation started from other people who watch Star Trek about the real comparisons of like Andor's trying to be the Star Trek of Star Wars.
Yeah, I could totally see that. And for that reason, KG, you ever want to spot as a guest on the show to debate that take, invites wide open. We'll have an open chair next week. Just let us know. We'll debate that.
Seats warm.
Because I would love to have an episode just dedicated to that, just to break it down. I love Star Wars, obviously, but I mean, Star Trek's like just I'm not going to go down that, but we'll just do that one day. We'll have a dedicated episode, Star Wars versus Star Trek. KG, you'll have to come on for that one. That's your episode to make your name on this podcast. Okay, with that said, should we go into these 2 episodes? What were they about, Amanda?
Okay.
Bad Batch season 15 or season 2. Episode 15 and 16.
Right. Okay. In the 2-part finale of the Bad Batch season 2, Wrecker, Hunter, Echo, Tech, and Omega find out Hemlock will be at Tarkin Summit on the planet Eridu and want to attach a tracker to his ship to learn more about his operations and where he could be holding Crosshair. While the crew works to deactivate cameras, take out troopers, and attach the tracker, Hunter and Tech run into Saw Gerrera disguised as a trooper running his own covert mission to blow up the entire base. They are discovered by real stormtroopers and must separate to escape. The batch jumps on a rail car to escape, but the explosions at the base damage the rail line and has the car stuck in the middle of the sky. While Tech works on restoring power to the car, the Bad Batch are being shot at by troopers and closed in on. Tech calls for Plan 99 and sacrifices himself to prevent the car from falling off the rails. The car begins moving too fast and crashes into a barrier. The Bad Batch escapes to Ord Mantell, only to be betrayed by Sid, who turns them over to Hemlock and the Empire. Omega turns herself over to Hemlock to save her friends and is reunited with Nala Se. The episode ends with Hemlock's assistant, Emery Carr, revealing that her and Omega are sisters.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's kind of a weak cliffhanger, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
it didn't have the impact like I thought it was going to, especially when the very last like frame of the episode is like, we're sisters or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's like the
Yeah, the change of scenery.
landscape shot where it's like dun dun. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it was gonna be like this drop worthy moment. And I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
fine.
I
you
mean-
could have said the same thing and cinematically made it better or more revealing or weighty. It was like they downplayed it themselves.
Yeah.
How they portrayed it on screen.
That's fair.
Well, I mean, like, if this whole thing is about cloning, it's not super surprising when you find out, oh, there's another clone of me.
Yeah,
In
exactly.
my opinion.
Yeah, it's like, all right, they tried
Oh,
something.
cool.
It just gets kind of old, another clone.
Yeah.
Snoke. Oh, another clone. Palpatine. Oh.
But it
Gideon,
is.
oh,
I
is
think
he
the
another
interesting
clone?
part is that Emery works with Hemlock, so she is complicit in the inhumane testing that they're doing on clones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. I don't know. Personally, after Christian's take last week about, what was it, 2 weeks ago, last week, when he said Hemlock's a bad villain, I've been really critically looking at Hemlock and being like, you're not great. You're not a great villain. Christian was completely right. I'm thinking about it, and in this episode with Tarkin, it's kind of like, and I actually really enjoy Tarkin's presence, his dialogue, and this was his homeworld, right? Eriadu, whatever it is.
Eriadu?
I think so.
Yeah, it was his homeworld for sure. I just don't remember the name. So that was pretty cool. And going back there, and yeah, we get the Orson Krennic talking about Project Stardust.
Very cool to see Krennic. If
so
there
cool.
was one thing that got me excited in this show, it was seeing him on screen.
And it was just a little breadcrumb.
Little
Little
tease.
It
tiny.
was so cool. But yeah, going back into that, it's like, oh, those villains, those guys, and the other guys at that table too had like roles in like the Clone Wars, and so all of them are more interesting than Hemlock, who's just this ASMR bad to be bad
He's
villain.
got a good ASMR bad guy voice.
If he gets fired, maybe
Can you
he
imagine
do
though,
that,
at that
like,
meeting, everyone's like,
podcast.
"What are you saying?"
Yeah.
It just takes one guy with Meniere's disease to be like, "I just hate this guy. Get him out of here." And it's funny though, he's just like, "Your project's expensive." He's like, "Well, the Emperor wants it."
He wasn't even making a case for himself. He just
Yeah.
kept reiterating empty platitudes, and Tarkin was like, "All right, are you gonna say anything of substance, or are we gonna move on?" And
Yeah.
it was like,
It's like,
yeah,
the Emperor takes great interest in this, so
it's of great importance. Yeah, we know. How much money do you want, and why should I give it to you?
yeah, because the Emperor wants it. All right.
Next,
Yeah.
Director Krennic.
Yep, thank you very much. But that was a neat conversation they had on there too, where they're talking
Yeah.
about the clones uprising, and there's that one commander is like, and he served under Plo Koon, forget his name, and he's like, I just think that the clones deserve better than this, don't you think? And
And he was
it's like, well,
no.
they're imperial property. He's like, well, but don't you think there might be an uprising? He's like, Thrawn's like, well, it will be put down swiftly.
Yeah.
Director
It was interesting to see a mixed bag of opinions at that table.
Mhm.
I would
Yeah.
have thought, oh, they're a more unified front against the clones for the stormtroopers, but I was surprised that there was,
It was a neat
this-
bit of dialogue.
this mixed bag.
And
of
it
stuff.
really added to the immersive universe for that reason. Like just kind of tying these other points together, like you said, from Clone Wars to Rogue One. And
Yeah.
it's kind of cool to see them overlap like that.
Yeah.
And on that train of thought, no pun intended, it was great to see that rail again from Solo. I mean, just that aesthetic
Had to bring that
design.
movie up on your last
Dude,
episode. You
It
just worked
and
that
it
in
totally works. It was
does.
really nice to it was nice to see that.
there. Well, speaking of that rail, I mean, I think this was the first time that I finally just decided. I think a lot of, as was intended as an audience, for the audience, it was that Saw Gerrera. I'm just done with that guy. Like, he's just, you are really dumb.
It was
For real.
exhausting watching him again.
I gave the summit, which was episode 15, a higher score on the story than I did on Plan 99. And that was because, and in characters too, that was because like I think Saw brings something so unique to Star Wars that is like a really important gap in the character lineup. And we also saw in that episode where Tarkin basically talks about the expendable lives that will be cost in the same way that Saw Gerrera dies.
Ooh.
So you see them both kind of be literally like two sides of that coin.
Totally. That's a great point.
I do like that contrast. And I think, yeah, part of that was like seeing him again. It was like,
It was also a great surprise. Like,
Yeah.
it makes sense that he
Yeah,
would
yeah.
be doing his own covert missions and trying to mess stuff up. And I think that was like a really exciting turn for this like 2-part episode to be like a little wrench in the plan.
Don't you think too, like, you watch him and it's amazing to me. And it's not that amazing. I mean, I guess any extremist can get a loyal band of followers, as we see in our own world. But the reality that his extremist actions, where do whatever it takes, people are going to die left and right, whatever it takes. But the reality is, like, his extremism is just bolstering imperial defenses.
Mhm.
All the while, it doesn't seem like he actually typically achieves his goals. There's no strategy. There's no foresight. He just goes in and he's like, we're just going to blow stuff
We're just
up.
going to hurt him. Hit
Yeah.
him where it hurts.
And it's like you're actually hurting the actual rebellion. Like, the better thing to do is, as we see in Andor, kind of lay low, bide your time. What's her name in the Senate that moves stuff from A
Mon
to
Mothma?
Yep, she's great character, doing things the right way. There's other people that are laying low, and then there's him, where it's just like, guy, our job would be a lot easier if we could like lull him to
Stop
sleep.
blowing stuff up.
Yeah, if they didn't think we existed, period, we'd be a lot more effective.
Yeah.
But
You got
there's
Leroy
Saw Gerrera.
Jenkins over there just running in and blowing it.
Leroy
Jenkins.
That's exactly right. I'm never gonna unsee that when I see Saw Gerrera now.
I like what KG said. Saw is totally responsible for Tech's death. Yeah, let's peg it on Saw. That guy.
Can we even call it a
Saw,
death though?
Just that'll be our thumbnail. Saw
I mean,
kills Tech.
is Tech dead?
No. I mean, I wish
They
he
brought
was.
him his goggles.
I think he's dead. I'm fine with him being dead. I thought it was.
I hope he's dead.
I thought it was
I also
a
hope
good
he's
death. That was another where part of the series didn't pull a punch. It was like, that was a good, honorable, epic death. It falls in line with a good piece of storytelling where he's like, this is plan 99.
Mhm.
You know, sacrifice yourself for the greater good of the group.
Which is a callback to Clone Wars. Clone 99 was that old guy that ended up sacrificing himself.
that was great.
Yeah.
That was great. He did die.
Yeah,
but
I do think that Tech is dead.
I think he's dead.
Based on like how like glorious of a death they gave him and how much they had spent the season like kind of focusing on his character growing. And I also just can't picture him like coming back from the dead like a Tom Cruise character and like picking up Fee and being like, let's go, babe.
Yeah.
And like just totally change who he is. Like it makes sense that he's dead.
Yeah.
I hope he is. Not so much because I hate Tech, because I think he's a great character, or a fine character, I guess. But more of my thought there is just, I have such trust issues with off-screen deaths in Star Wars now, especially when they fall to their deaths where it really is just falling into a bunch of clouds. And all right.
So you wanted to see the bloody splat, is what you're saying.
I mean, there could have been something. They could have you could have just showcased goggles on the ground, hand Mufasa
screaming.
Style. Gosh,
honestly, he probably survived
like
the
a
fall.
Wilhelm scream.
And he lost his glasses. He survived the fall. He lost his glasses, and then fell into a terrible pit because he didn't have his glasses, and that's how he died.
Yeah, he survived the fall,
this has gotten really dark.
Got eaten by a bear.
Yeah.
Just bringing back the glasses. Same thing when like everyone and like this is the stuff that just kills me when people are like, well, and we talked about this already, like Moff Gideon's not actually dead because
he's a
like
clone.
That's a clone, and like didn't you pay attention? Like he doesn't have a mustache now, so clearly I'm like, the fact that we're having this conversation shows you just the weak level of storytelling, if that is true.
Yeah, that's true.
Just weak. Like these fake outs, not good writing. So if Tech is dead, and my score is based on him being dead.
Good.
Because that's I'm not gonna place distrust. Like now, if it changes and he's back, that won't hurt this episode. It'll hurt the
Right.
next episode.
Right.
Yeah.
This episode, as far as the information we have, I think it
Yeah.
would be better for the story if he's actually gone.
I agree.
So with that episode, we
The-
gave
the 2 episodes.
well, yeah, 77% for the summit. Seems kind of low. And wow, 77.2.
Whoa.
What? No,
Whoa.
77.07.
77.07 and 77.2%.
Whoa.
That's kind of makes sense. They're very on par, like 1A,
Well,
1B.
yeah,
with each
they
other.
really are.
The better of the two being Plan 99. So
So
I think I scored the music the highest in the final episode
yeah, you did.
because that
it was the
was-
cathartic end.
yeah, it was very cathartic, very operatic, very grand. And it was the most grand, I think, especially with Tech's death, but even throughout, it really felt like the music for the series, and we've talked about it a lot, but it built into this, finale. Like it built up to this, kind of
Yeah.
like how Andor did it in a different way.
Mhm.
But that's where I think the music really shined, was right at the end.
Yeah, and that's on par with what we gave the score for that episode. On episode 16. That's the highest.
KG writes, does Echo take over the quote unquote smart role?
Omega.
Echo.
No, I'm just saying, like, what if it's Omega?
Oh, yeah. I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's always kind of made sense. Like, where
Yeah.
it's like, you don't need Tech and Echo.
Yeah.
Techo.
Yeah, they're like, let's
Push them together.
send Echo on sabbatical. Let's do some good character stuff for Tech.
And
now
let's
kill
switch.
him.
Yeah.
And now, Echo,
You're-
you come in now. All right,
Sub in.
it's your time to
Hurry
go.
up.
Go, 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 go. That's
There
your
you
cue.
go.
You're in line. You're in line.
Exactly.
Go.
And then they'll probably, hopefully, lean into that with season 3 when Echo's back with the batch and he's like, Tech was a much better at this than I
Yeah.
was. Like
He's
that'll
just
probably
trying to
be
fill
said.
in his shoes. Yeah. Let's go to Ord Mantell and the big like Sid betrayal.
Mm.
How did you feel about that?
I was surprised she was remorseful about it. I thought it was a good surprise too. Like I was led up to thinking it was going to be a bitter end, like suck
Screw
it,
you.
guys,
Yeah.
get out of my shop,
Yeah.
Yep.
So I was surprised she was remorseful and sad about it, but I wasn't surprised they were sold out. And I thought it made sense. I thought it helped tell the story. I thought it helped the series overall and just show the Bad Batch at a very vulnerable, like beat them down even further.
Yeah.
Lower
Yeah.
to the low. What did
Yeah,
you
yeah,
two
yeah.
think?
It's interesting that they chose to go to Ord Mantell instead of back to Pabu. But I mean, the reason they went there was because AZ was there, and that's how they wanted to like make sure that Omega was still okay. I really liked that scene because I could really feel Hunter and Wrecker's grief, especially when Hemlock comes up and like they have Wrecker subdued and he's just like ready. You could just tell that
Yeah.
he wanted to just like crush their skulls.
Oh
and,
yeah,
like,
he took a shot
Wookiee
from
them.
what was
Yeah.
it? The stun gun.
Mhm.
Just kept going like a big old
Yeah.
bear.
Yeah, and that was really cool and really like I felt the emotional weight of that from
Yeah.
those.
They were the
performances.
most distraught you had
Yeah.
seen them. And yeah,
That was his Braveheart moment. I'm like,
Yeah,
all right,
and
he's-
even when like Hunter, like as the car is crashing into it, and you look at Omega, and then he just like jumps to protect her in that sort
Oh,
of
yeah.
I think of Miss Incredible kind of way,
Yeah.
you know. And then we go into Omega's perspective as she's like kind of in and out of consciousness, which we saw from that Tech episode, or I mean the Hunter episode from season 1, I believe. Do you remember when we go into Hunter's POV and he's like, was he shot by you know what I'm talking
Oh, I
about?
think I know what you're talking about. Who was he shot by or hit by?
Why do I think it's Cad Bane?
It was probably
I don't remember who it was. Somebody in the
Prisoner.
chat will get it.
Yeah.
But we did have like a POV of that in like season 1 where we're following Hunter, and I think having Omega be that POV for us, it was definitely gave me like video game feelings, like where you start to feel like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, like I am Omega.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah. Overall, that was a good episode too. C plus is around. All that to be said, that ranks this season of the Bad Batch. Looking at it here, at a 72.88%,
It's better than season 1.
which was a 63.93%.
Which is a significant jump within its own series.
But you know what it isn't? It isn't better than season 3 of The Mandalorian, is it, Brody?
Oh,
Hold on. What did we say? Season 3 of Mando? What? Nope, didn't beat it. Hey,
No.
listen, I liked it more than season 3 of Mando. I think my numbers reflect that. It's hard to tell. We didn't calculate those.
It's a good thing we didn't.
Yeah, maybe one day. And Christian won't hold me accountable anymore. So
Amanda,
we'll
you got to
see.
hold him
Oh,
accountable.
I will.
So
I will.
We'll see. I don't know. Overall, I did enjoy this season more than season 3 of Mando. But all that to be said, that doesn't take very much. So
Question before we move on.
Yeah.
Is there any like predictions or things like you kind of want to see from the next season? Because I have one that I wanted to throw out.
go for it. What is
Go.
it?
Because I was thinking about making it a hot take and I was like, girl, that's a prediction.
Okay,
So,
okay.
Here we go.
Check yourself.
Hunter, like at the end of the episode, ends up saying like, we won't stop until we find her, right? And I was like, that would be a really great way to segue season 3 taking place like 8+ years in the future.
Oh.
Like a significant amount of time has passed. Omega has changed in a lot of ways, whether she's still working for the Empire, whether she did do any work for them to survive and escape, what the Bad Batch has been trying to do, what even Rex and who's the other guy that was with him?
Echo.
No, Rex and some other guy
Oh.
are also like trying to start a like clone rebellion type of thing. So I feel like if you took like a time jump, it would be a really great opportunity for season 3. And I really
agree.
want to see Omega like I can't picture her being in the Ahsoka series, but I could see her coming up as a character in like the new Rey movie in the future. And I think that there's a lot of opportunity to set her
I'd
up
love
as
to
a
see
really
that.
cool
Nice.
future character in other
I would
pieces.
love to see that. Just like I love Boba. Would love to see Omega grown up, doing cool things. And that kind of goes into my prediction. I
Ooh.
believe, especially if there's a time jump, we're going to see Boba because there is a deleted scene from the Clone Wars that it's basically been made, needs to be rendered, polished up, and everything else, where it's Boba versus Cad Bane. I don't know if you've seen that
Mhm.
on YouTube, where it just explains how he got the dent in his helmet. And it's a given. At some point in the Bad Batch, if you got Fennec Shand already, you're going to get Boba at some point. And George Lucas really wanted actually Boba to be the one to take out Mace Windu in Revenge of the Sith. But he kind of determined, he's like, this is just not the way 16-year-old Boba taking out like the greatest Jedi master of like with fighting skills. Like it can't be Boba. It's got to be something else. So, and they made the right choice, but I think you're going to get a little bit more there. And I wouldn't be surprised if you get something that just stirs up a little bit more of that beef between Cad Bane and Boba to make that last scene more significant. So they've already got Cad, they've already got Fennec, rounded out with Boba.
Yeah, and bringing him back into animation is just like a piece of cake.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it'd be cool. Like it does service the story because he's so tied from the Clone Wars to Kamino that I think it makes, like, just from a storytelling perspective, it makes sense to bring him in at some point and showcase for an episode. Hey, here's where he's at. Here's what he's doing. He was mentored under Cad Bane for a while. So giving you some insight into that, I think it's a given that we'll see it at some point. And his interaction with Omega would be so cool.
It would be
like, that's
cool.
what I want the most out of the show.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
I love how we got Christian to talk a mention of Solo, and you managed to get Boba in. So this is really a true to form Duel of the Ranks episode. We haven't talked
Classic.
about The Last Jedi yet.
I was about to mention it because, in fact, now that you say that, I was so shocked that you ranked Pabu so high because it was just this basic vanilla episode that was just bland. And then you gave it like so many 5s and 4.5s and high scores. Yet The Last Jedi, that is just unpredictable left and right, just this whiplash of a movie. You're like, that's also comfort food. Love it. Sit back, watch that. And like,
so it
these
should have
two
made sense to
things
you.
are so different though. Like the storytelling mechanisms they
Different.
use.
I have a wide variety
Yeah.
of tastes. So
I've learned this now.
yeah.
I definitely get the appeal with Pabu being a comfort, like chicken noodle soup type. Like,
Yeah.
it was just fun to watch, and it was a good individual serialized episode.
Yeah.
But your predictions, I like both of your predictions. Sadly, I think both of your predictions are going to be the most interesting things that won't be put in the show. And I haven't thought much about predicting season 3, so it's a good question. But like right off the bat, kind of already talking about what was set up for this vacancy from Tech. Echo will come back to the batch, I think, and I think it's a great spot to start the show where we have a mission and a drive to get Omega back. And you can tell the batch story, you can tell Omega's story, like you were telling Crosshair's story. That could get really interesting. And then you still got to tell Crosshair's story. I fear, though, they're just going to rescue Omega in the first episode and then go back to just humdrum, let's find a new Sid and work for it. Just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I hope I'm wrong. You know, I do have to hand it, though, to him making that big of a jump, especially with like fans like us trying to critically look at these things, making that 12-point difference from season 1 to season 2. Like, that's no small feat. You know, that's quite something to do.
Yeah.
For a season 2, especially a sequel to anything, you know?
Yeah.
No, this season was really enjoyable.
I agree. So with that, do we move into the next segment of the show?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. It is hot takes time.
Don't be too proud of this podcast you've constructed. The ability to rank content is insignificant next to the power of an exceptional hot take.
Okay, it's hot takes time. And I've got one that I think Christian's going to think is a hot take. I think you're going to think it's a hot take, but you might lean towards milquetoast because I think you're going to so wholeheartedly agree with me. I think Omega is a more interesting character than Luke Skywalker. She's more, I'll put it this way. I enjoy seeing her on screen more
It's a hot take.
than Luke.
Yeah.
I will say it's a
Yeah.
hot take, and I agree with it.
Nice. Wow.
Whoa.
We've just lost.
Whoa!
Look at the views go way
Whoa.
up. Way up.
Whoa! Everyone's strap in.
All right. Yeah. The engagement just jumped for the podcast.
Oh
as
my
well.
God.
And someone is out for my life. So Christian, help.
I disagree. I think I could be persuaded, but I think Luke is just so loaded with all this history, and I don't know, that his relationship with Vader and then introducing him as like leading up a new Jedi Order. I think there's more to Luke just by sheer time that we've seen that makes him much more interesting and complex than Omega than what we've seen for now. So I'll have to disagree, but this is totally up to the writers. I think Omega has that potential where she could be completely, more interesting.
Well, I hear you there. I don't think that'll take much for me because she's already there. But my take on that is when you see Luke in the beginning, he's this whiny young kid that's, heads in the clouds. Yeah, literally. And then you see base same thing in A New Hope. And then Empire Strikes Back, he's still there. I don't care what you say, he's still there. The world's not fair, nothing's fair, whatever, just whines all the time, and we get it. The last movie, and for a long time, he's just stoic, cold. Doesn't seem like he feels anything. And just his character, like people were complaining about him in the book of Boba, it was the book of Boba Fett where you see him, and they're like, oh, with that deep fake tech, his face was so dead, it doesn't match. I'm like, no, that's like him.
Yeah.
At this point of his life, he's just dead faced, serious all the time, not that
Balance.
interesting. Like, yeah, don't get me wrong, like it was cool to watch him fight those Death Troopers. That's about it. The most interesting he's ever been
Is
is
the
on
Last
The Last
Jedi.
Jedi.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree. And we worked the Last Jedi into it. It's
Yeah,
beautiful.
absolutely.
It's poetry.
That's beautiful.
Absolutely. So I don't know, where's Omega from the jump? You're like, we want to know more. We're getting more and more into her story. And she's just someone you just, for me, adore from the jump.
Yeah.
You want to see good things for this character. And she's the
She
embodiment
feels like
of what
my
could
little
be.
sister.
Yeah. I just enjoy seeing her on screen more than I ever did Luke. So
I got you.
I agree.
all right. Well, with that, then I guess I've earned myself a Roger.
Okay, I'll go next.
All right.
My hot take is kind of in reference to the goggles that we see given back to Hunter in this episode. And what really could have sold that tech was dead is if it even had just like one blood splatter on it. And my hot take is that Star Wars, at least some Star Wars, some episodes need blood. And maybe that is what keeps it PG rated and ratings friendly. But you never just see like someone bleeding out or like
even like Andor.
We did see, however, in Mando season 3 when they attacked that beast in the first episode, I loved how like the guts like exploded and landed on people. I was like, okay, we're getting into like actual like body mass and like physics of like fighting.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of think that we need some of that in Star Wars. So that's my hot take. More blood.
I mean,
any blood, really.
I'm nervous to agree with this because you're
I
very
agree.
bloodthirsty, but I'm gonna agree. So hopefully that does not change what happens on this show with your so Lucasfilms, just please give her blood because we don't need it here in the studio. So give her what she wants. All right. Agreeing out of fear more than anything else.
That made me
that
think, though,
works.
the goggles may be part of another prediction. Omega is going to end up wearing those goggles, and it'll be a part of her new garb.
Well, doesn't her sister, what's her name, Emiria or whatever? She wears like goggles, doesn't she?
Yeah, what is her name?
Wait, hold on, I wrote it down.
Scalding something?
Emery.
Oh,
Emery.
Emery Carr.
Omega will just be an embodiment of all the Bad Batch when they're passed on.
she'll be assembled with all their stuff.
Oh, KG did say Andor finale had a little bit of blood. Episode 4 and 7, the only others.
I swear, KG, you know so much about Star Wars, and I love it. I'm here for it. Like,
yeah,
it's you're just like when Christian leaves, you're just gonna have to be here every week to like just help Amanda and I remember basic things like that. Just your knowledge is unprecedented.
we love having you on the show. She agreed with me on your take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a hot take?
You tell me.
Oh.
The Bad Batch season 2 is mediocre at best.
That's the most milk toast take ever. Oh, something is milk toast. Oh, okay.
No. Not just that something is milk toast. I think that doesn't mean that the take itself is milk toast. Just because you say something like the show is milk toast, because some people herald it as
It
the
does ruffle
best
my
stuff
feathers.
ever. Like say Empire Strikes Back is the most mediocre piece of sci-fi. That's
Okay.
That's
You're
a hot
right.
take.
You're
Yeah,
right. That's a hot take.
I totally.
But
think
you could
hot take.
totally think my take is milk toast.
Mhm.
Why
Okay.
is it milk toast, Christian?
Well, let's look at the definition of mediocre. That was
Oh
my word.
Gosh, so
That
the
is
pretentiousness.
average, nothing terrible.
Of only moderate quality, not very good.
Yes. Only moderate quality, not very good. I think the Bad Batch it's exploring this box that they've boxed themselves in. And I don't think they can do much other than now we're going to try to explore the minutia politics of clones and whatnot. And They use things like Dr. Hemlock, like the aesthetics of a villain that really aren't a villain. And it comes off as more so just shallow. And I think just because the bar was set so low with season 1, that we have hit the mediocre status. But it's good that we've made some improvements.
Well, now that we've watched it, I will say, I went before we watched this season and said it was the best season of any Star Wars show ever. Since watching it again and giving a critical eye to it, I have to pull back on that stance. It's no longer, in my opinion, the best. It is the second best. Behind only.
Really?
You can't put it above Andor.
You can't put anything above Andor.
No, I was wrong. I was just wrong for that take.
You're
But
clowning.
I'm still putting it above.
You're putting it above the
Mando?
Mandalorian?
Oh, absolutely.
I accept that.
mean,
I don't
that
agree with
Crosshair-
it, but I
the
accept it.
Crosshair episode alone in the snow, that's sealed it for me. I haven't seen a single episode of Mando like that.
I saw Pedro Pascal went on record and said that the season 3 of Mandalorian was mostly a voice acting gig, and we were like, yeah, we know, dude. We could tell.
Yeah.
It was obvious. I think the season would have been better if they would have actually had Pedro Pascal there.
Totally. Yeah, I'm very indifferent to the future of that show unless something drastic changes. I mean, I'll watch it. I'm not hating on it.
It's just
I'm
not
not excited.
Andor.
You hated on that finale.
Andor. I did hate on that finale, and I'd do it again. But towards your take, no, I don't think it's mediocre. I enjoy it a lot, and it's a B- season for me. So I enjoyed it a lot.
I'm gonna say milk toast.
All right, that's fair.
All right, we'll just play it.
You fool! Your take is milk toast.
With that, it is time for the last segment of the show, Trivia Time.
This is the way to trivia time!
It is Trivia Time. The card's over there. I don't know who has it this week. Christian?
Christian,
Amanda?
do us the honor.
Yeah.
Okay. I had a great trivia question last week, but I'll do this one too.
I see how hard he is to work with everyone.
This one sounds familiar, so I'm not going to read that card. All right. What does Cloud City extract from the lower atmosphere of its host planet? A. Tabana gas. B. Nirala gas. C. Turducken gas. Or D.
Turducken.
D. Malefic gas.
I'm going to say A.
I'm gonna say malefic gas.
It was A. Tabana.
That Tabana gas.
We got a lot of Empire Strikes Back trivia in this deck.
Yeah, this is OG trivia, so that's why.
Oh yeah.
It makes it so nice. Well, before we close, we do have one last thing to run through, Christian, to say thank you for everything you've done for the show. Amanda and I put something together. I don't know. What do you think? Read first half, read second half.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it that way. Let me get this for you, Christian.
Oh no, you shouldn't have.
The card?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
What did you do?
So you don't have to open all of this on screen.
It's like a kid's birthday. Gotta do
yeah.
it all. We're all gonna watch you. And
But there is a really great poem that was authored by our good friend Brody here. And in Arborish on the side here, it says, "Thank you, Christian."
Oh my goodness.
So
I gotta frame this now.
Yeah, so I'll read the first 3 stanzas and you can read the last one. In a galaxy not so far away, we embarked on a podcast, come what may. Duel of the Rings, our Star Wars quest. To find the best, we put it to the test. But now, dear Christian, you've chosen to depart, leaving behind memories etched in our heart. So here's a poetic farewell just for you, a tribute to moments shared, both old and new. Do you recall when frog hunting was the tale, when wisdom stared deep in the night, in the lake at night would prevail? Laughter echoed as we shared the moment together, one of many quips that bound us now and forever.
Though the Star Wars community cried out in disdain, Christian dared to call some episodes mere filler in vain. But amidst the backlash, he stood by his voice, unafraid to challenge, to critique, to rejoice. Milquetoast opinions were not your domain, unless tonight. You
Yeah.
spoke your mind, unafraid of the strain. In response, we just chanted the pod racing rhyme, ooh, ah, shouting joy and indifference each and every time. Now, Christian, as you venture on a new path, we bid you farewell with a heartfelt aftermath. In a galaxy's expanse, may your star ever thrive, and may the Force be with you, but we know he's still alive.
My goodness. That
We're
was
gonna-
amazing.
We're gonna miss you, man.
I don't deserve you too. That's why I'm leaving. That's so, you guys.
We're gonna miss you.
That
dude.
was
Yeah.
a wonderful poem.
I know, right?
That was like really well written.
Thank you.
Very,
He wanted me to handwrite it in the card, and I was like, dude, I cannot write 6 stanzas in a 4x6 card. I don't know how tiny you think my handwriting is.
that
It's like-
was
She said she had good handwriting. So I'm like, here's this.
I was like, okay, give me a novel next time.
that's amazing. That was a very well written poem, and I'm gonna be reading that a lot.
Yeah.
Well,
All right, let's open this.
all right. What do you got next?
Here's the frame. Our
Yeah.
trip in London for Star Wars Celebration.
I think you gotta put it to the
A trip
the
we'll never
screen.
forget.
Yeah.
Maybe if they can kind of see it. There you go. Yeah, that was our place in London. That was the achievement. We got to celebrate.
Down the
Yes.
Got
street
to
from our
Europe.
Airbnb. No,
Yeah.
that's awesome. I love that. You too. You're too sweet. Oh my! I'm gonna hug you.
All right, and then you gotta go. We're done with you. We're done with you after this.
But I'll hug you
After that.
you
Yeah,
know,
it's like our
after.
headphones and mics.
Yeah.
And air hug.
I too got you both something.
What?
So,
What?
hold on one second.
What? But you gotta
Not a
return that
poem.
frame though. We got no sponsors, so you gotta. That's just for show and tell, but you don't get to keep. No, I will say though, there were a lot of. Maybe we'll do this while Christian's going and picking up stuff. It'd be kind of fun to round out. Do you have a favorite Christian moment, Amanda?
I just remember when we re-recorded our episodes for the films. We had like 2 days where we recorded all, what was it, 9?
Mm,
Oh yeah.
3, 6, 9.
yeah,
No,
that
it was
a
like
blast.
11.
That was a blast. Yeah.
And we were all like deliriously like tired and just getting goofy and silly, and it was a lot of effort to keep going and talking about all of these things, and we were like, okay, let's just get it done, let's do it. And the feeling of like camaraderie that we all had, like getting through that and being like, as hard as it was a lot of fun to do it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think Christian always had moments on the show where I think the one that just got me in tears was just when you talked, and I couldn't find a way to like get this into the poem eloquently, but when I think you both just tag team together with Star Wars Lawyer, but the Jawas, you just see a stampede in the horizon and you just hear the music from Lion King. My horn just gets dun, 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 dun. like a pack of wolves.
I remember that.
Oh, dang it. I lost it. Oh man.
was a good time.
Oh, great. And then obviously Europe. That was just
Obviously.
insanity. That was
So
insanity.
cool.
It's one of
Never
those thi-
forget.
You're gonna look back and people are still like, you took your kids. I'm like, yeah, we did. And we all lived. It's one of those things, like the more time goes by and the more I'm catching up on sleep, the more I'm like, wow, we did that.
Yeah.
Like that's awesome. Super insane. So Christian, we absolutely love you. So thanks for giving us those, and also for giving us these.
I love you
Whatever.
too, guys. I think so. The personal touch is in the card. Don't read those here on air.
Okay, all right.
All right.
But
Lots of explicitives.
But so those aren't as personal as the frame you got me, but
Oh, that's cool.
have you ever played Star Wars Imperial Assault?
No.
No.
So that I played it a long time ago as a kid. I don't remember much, so forgive me if I'm butchering this, but it's like a more structured D&D for Star Wars.
Okay, that's so cool. I
And
see that.
you've got more driven, you got rules and stuff, but you're battling it out. And Amanda, I had to get you
He got me Ezra Bridger and Kanan Jarrus. Blind
allies,
Kanan Jarrus.
Mm.
powerful allies,
Yes.
And he
The
got
ally pack.
Ahsoka Tano.
your favorite character. And I
Yeah.
I
So
debate.
cool.
I saw Boba Fett in there, but he's not listed as an ally. And I see you both
Mm.
as strong allies, and I can't. And I
Aw.
know Ahsoka's your favorite character too.
Oh yeah, they're like tied. So
Yeah,
there you
yeah.
go.
But maybe someday when we get back with, I don't know, or at least try it out for yourself. But you got some allies now to play
Awesome.
with and check
Dude,
it out.
thank you so much. This is so
That
cool.
was amazing. Honestly, this show has been amazing. This has been I'm just going to say it, a historic run where the podcast ranks right now. It does land as a top 10% podcast in the globe as far as podcasts are concerned. We could grow the YouTube side and some other things. We have a little bit of work to do there. We'll get to it, but it's only been like, I don't know, close to 100 episodes. But with that said, we're close to 100 episodes. 69% of podcasters don't make it outside of 10. We're close to 100. Christian,
You made it to 89.
did he really?
89.
Wow. I mean, it's pretty unreal. I mean, you're looking at it right here. Yeah, this is the 89th episode. So that's pretty special. You got yourself to Europe. You crammed in a bunch of episodes. You paid for some great tech. Christian, you are a podcaster in your own right. You are a part of one of them.
And I'm proud to be, especially with this show. This is my first podcast, and I've learned a lot about it. And especially, like, it's just been fun working with you two on this. And it's fun to do something like that with your friends,
Mhm.
not coworkers.
Yeah.
And especially, for Star Wars and stuff like that. But it's just cool to think and reflect back on what you've assembled, what we've created, and to further it. I can't wait to see where it goes next. And not to say that I'll never be back, but I'm so proud of it and proud of you two, and proud to call you my friends. And I'm glad we did it. This
Yeah, we
was,
did.
Yeah.
I don't know, it was awesome. And it's fun to have people like KG and Rule Farm Boy and the Hyperspace here, like people just join in on that. And
Mhm.
this was a whole new world for me, a whole new world for the Star Wars community, the online community.
Yeah.
I learned some things, I didn't want to learn, but I also, but no, it's just been, yeah, what a treat. I can't
No
put
filler.
I can't put it in words.
None.
No filler
No
there.
filler.
No filler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All good content throughout. Well, I think we do need to let folks know that while you will be back from time to time, I'm sure, but the show is going to be changing, I think, in a pretty positive direction, as positive as it can get when you lose one of the three beloved hosts. So folks know, I know there's a lot of questions that have come out there where folks have been saying, well, what's going to be happening with the
TMZ
future?
has been reporting. They're like, oh my gosh, there's like the downfall of DOTR is imminent. Like,
the
what's
next
going to happen?
biggest downfall
Yeah.
since the Roman
Drama.
Empire.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Drama
yeah.
this week.
All
at
the
Duel
drama.
of the
The
Ranks.
covers are showing like Christian with like a paper ripped between like Brody and I, and they're
Like,
like the
looking behind
fallout
my
of the
back.
century.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
They got a picture of me like mid eating a hot dog.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, the show is going to be, just so folks know, just Amanda and I. We'll bring on guests from time to time, but Amanda and I, we're going to be introducing next week. We are going to be going back to doing some pretty fun content. That's just the standard format we've done. Following that, though, we're going to be introducing quite a few new things to the show. It's going to be just her and I. So next week, her and I going to be back, just do a single episode. Then we're going to take a week off. The studio is moving that week, so we're taking it off, taking a quick break. And then the following week, Amanda and I will be back with a new format starting at 8 p.m. Central Time. So let me see, what date is that? On Thursdays still. So that puts us next week. We're going to be live on Wednesday, but then going forward after that break, we'll be going live the 13th of July at 8 p.m. Central. So you're not going to want to miss it. Amanda and I are going to be bringing out a whole slew of new hot takes. We've got a lot of other Star Wars content to cover. If you want to submit your own hot takes to talk about on the show, do it on the website. Send us an email. DM us on TikTok. There's a lot of ways to do that. You want to come on as a guest? Feel free to send us a message. We'll talk to you about it. We'll line something up. We've got some cool guests in the next few months we'll be bringing on to share some of their hot takes and opinions. Otherwise, Christian, this has been the most epic run of any podcast I've been a part of. And it's been just a true honor and pleasure to work with you, sir. So thank you for giving us 89 episodes, your heart, your style, your comedy, and overall just you, because it's been a true pleasure.
The honor is all mine. I'm so thankful for this opportunity. You guys are going to do great. I'm excited to hear what's next.
Yep.
The after party starts now is what people would say.
Yep. The after party. You want more information? Go to dueltheranks.com. The party doesn't end here. With that,
We'll see you next week.
yub nub.
Yub nub.
Yub nub.
Adios, y'all. See you then.